guys, welcome back to User Experience Points. This week's episode is long overdue. We're going to talk about Fallout 3. This game doesn't have a huge amount to cover, but what is here is definitely worth talking about. So let's start with one of my favorite things to talk about, diegetic design. You may have heard me cover this in previous episodes, but it's essentially designing interfaces that are part of a fictional world. Now in movies this means, flashy interfaces that a character is looking at, but in games this takes on a whole new level because you not only have to make the interface look like it's part of the world, but you also have to make it usable by an actual person. Which brings us to one of the coolest interfaces in any game ever, the Pip-Boy 3000. In terms of the game world, this is a wrist-mounted computer, like Leela's armband thing from Futurama. In terms of gameplay, this is your main menu where you look at your map, manage items, check on quests, that sort of thing. In terms of diegetic design, this is probably one of the best examples in gaming. See, the whole thing just looks like it's part of the world with the primitive visuals, the way the actual dials on the device move when you're navigating the menus. There's just something about interacting with an actual device instead of just a menu that overlays gameplay that just kinda keeps you in the world, even when you're doing more video gamey things like leveling up. Some other great examples include the handheld device that Snake pulls out in the new Metal Gear Solid game, which I would show some footage from right now, but I don't want to get content ID'd again. Konami. And the most famous, of course, being Dead Space, which is an episode I really need to get around to. Getting back to the Pip-Boy, I've talked about how well it's integrated into the game's world, but the other aspect of diegetic design that's important for video games is that you need to make these interfaces usable. And I'm very happy to say that the Pip-Boy is extremely usable thanks to some excellent consistency that serves it very well. Whenever possible, elements are always in the same place on screen. Your scrolling list is always on the left, overall information about the menu is on the top, any specific controls you might need are on the far right, and then information about what you have selected specifically is usually on the bottom right. Though unlike the character creation in Dark Souls, this interface does adapt when it needs to display different types of information, like the condition of your character's limbs, for example. Though you can see here that some consistent elements from other menus that still make sense in this layout are still here, like the on-screen controls. The map screen needs some help because it's this giant landscape with a ton of locations that use the same icon. Though I guess it's a bit unfair to call out this map for missing conventions that we've become used to with modern video game maps like filtering. Still, overall in terms of usability and integration into the game's world, the Pip-Boy 3000 is easily one of the best. So next let's talk about the Vault-Tec Assisted Targeting System, also known as VATS. Essentially, it's a system that almost allows you to make the game's combat turn-based, which is sort of a way to bridge the gap for traditional Fallout players who weren't really used to first-person shooter gameplay. Activating VATS pauses the combat, allowing you to make more tactical decisions about who you're going to shoot in the face. Or chest, or arm, you get the idea. All the information you need to make these decisions is very well presented on screen. Once you've selected a target, you can see your percentage of success, the condition of that particular target area, and how much damage you're going to deal to that enemy's overall health. The damage indicator is particularly effective because it uses the same type of visual design as your health meter, and that blinking animation is also used to show how much action points you're about to spend, which governs how often you can use VATS. Coming back to Fallout 3 after not playing for years, I was very impressed how easy it was to figure out how VATS worked again without having to look anything up, and all of that credit goes to how intuitively it presents all this information to you, and the fact that the on-screen controls are always there. And finally, I'm going to leave you with character creation. Now, the actual process of deciding your character's appearance isn't all that interesting, though it is kind of cool how they integrated it into the game's story by saying it's like a gene projection of what you're going to look like, since the game literally starts with you being born. But what I really want to talk about is what comes after when you're a toddler exploring your room so the game can teach you the basic controls. See, in order to progress any further past this point, you have to interact with a children's book that has you decide your base stats, like strength and luck. I could almost call this diegetic design because it is integrated really well into the game's world, but it doesn't quite fit the definition because the actual interaction isn't part of the game's world. It's just a fun way for you to decide your base stats. But the actual user experience in terms of learning what each stat does and then being able to make informed decisions about how you want to build your character is incredibly well executed. Each page gives a fun, childlike description of one of the stats that you can put points into and gives you the option to do so right away. But when you get to the end of the book, you see a breakdown of all the stats, allowing you to add and remove points from any of them. This is such an awesome way to do this because it gives you the time to learn about each stat individually, then gives you the chance to efficiently look at all of them at a glance and figure out how you want to build your character. It's that last final breakdown step that so many character creation systems are missing. And that's all I've got for you guys this week. As always, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, you should definitely subscribe if you haven't already because I upload a new episode of UXP every Friday. Also, if you enjoy Let's Plays, my wife and I have started one with our best friend Eddie, and it's called Super Game Night. We've got a few videos up now, and we're still kind of figuring it out, but we're definitely good at making fun of each other while playing games, so if you enjoy that sort of thing, I would really appreciate it if you checked out that channel and subscribe to it if you enjoy it. Either way, I'll see you all next week.